It's 18:05 on the 16th of June 2023, and I'm here still self-healing since the collective orchestrated in County Kerry and their poor political initiative to demonstrate crimes against the state from the southwest of Ireland while financially frauding through people's private lives with blasphemy and whatnot. So I'm, as I've mentioned throughout my documentary, experiencing blasphemy, and there have been those of a clique politique to commit crimes against the state and implicate themselves. Unfortunately, it's been quite embarrassing. I have attained knowledge, awareness by ethical means regarding all aspects of my research, academic and otherwise, that have culminated in recovery, legislation, COVID-19 and Brexit. Unfortunately, it gives me awful displeasure that in this community that has been reprimanded on umpteenth occasions regarding their slander of my good name, and they're repeat offenders. They haven't observed any laws whatsoever, and as I've said, they've been a financial fraud. But anyway, they've been implicating themselves in circumstances regarding the unlawful care orders of my child, and unfortunately they haven't been respecting proper avenues of investigation. I have not given anyone taking it upon themselves to ordain their position in these crimes as taught police. Taught police are not reliable, they are liable. So people that are already in awful trouble with the church for the blasphemous acts might be careful to observe what's black and white in the law before they continue implicating themselves in unlawful care orders of my child, trespassing in and around me where they have broken the law and caused harm to innocent life. So those that aren't observing the proper channels of communication and accessing information, they might observe what's black and white rather than driving around in circles trying to get, more trouble onto their repertoire of what they've already caused, living off my wealth and walking on my land and defaming my name and harming my child's upbringing while damaging their reputations with the church. So as I've said, I have spiritual gifts that are being damaged by individuals that think they're becoming royalty without even having the basics or fundamentals. Unfortunately, they have to observe a little bit more than constitutional law and humanitarian law before they can aspire to be of royal protocol of my bloodline. So those that are implicating themselves or misconstruing any of my content, I know that there has been identity theft and cybercrime. And I know that there have been individuals setting up accounts using my identity or my name or whatever. It's all the crime that I'm tolerating. So I hope there isn't anyone silly enough to not observe the actual proper channels of acquisition and attainment or entitlement regarding the rights to access all aspects or any aspects, and in my circumstances, as I'm of royal protocol, there's definitely no permission granted to interfere with my royal bloodline. So that's why there's a problem. We have a problem in County Kerry because of due to the simple fact that two unidentified individuals are still being supported in their crimes. They represented themselves as Garda Síochána. My child is of my royal bloodline, and unfortunately the two individuals that didn't present identification, unfortunately those individuals, oh my goodness, the events that have occurred since January 2017 and the harms that have happened to the Garda Síochána due to such individuals coming upon my child and I without respect for royal protocol. My child is still a missing person, so that's why we have problems in this world. There are people sticking their noses in, and obviously we know about what they were putting up their nose as well wasn't benefiting their health and well-being. So everyone might be careful about where they're putting their nose these days. The Garda Síochána, as I've mentioned, have been damaged, unfortunately, and I can say that with my hand on my heart. Prior to my child being unlawfully withheld from me. Now we have nuisances and pests interfering and intruding, and unfortunately, I didn't invite them. They have no right to discuss me. They have no right to continue accessing anything from me, and they have already offended the church of my family. So these people are thinking they're above the law, but they're not of royal protocol. So these conditions that I'm living in, that's one of the damages due to that floor. There are people thinking that they have a position of power with regard to my hierarchy of needs, while thinking they're going to discuss my farm holdings, where I certainly don't ensure their safety. There's no safety walking onto my farms, and there's no safety walking in on people that you don't have right or to be in the proximity of. So these are just simple observations of etiquette and legality. So if they have a problem observing that, I have concerns for the children of the Garda Síochána again. The Garda Síochána have obligations to my royal titles. I'd advise the Garda Síochána to just do their homework with regard to how many I hold, and I have an impeccable track record, clean track record as well. So I find it astonishing. In all the professions that I've had, I find it astonishing that people would be putting their lives at risk offending my son. My son is a missing person, and I don't welcome people on our farms in any shape or form or under any guise trespassing upon me in this abode and continuing with blasphemy where people have already been damaged and harmed as a consequence of their bad faith practices, offending the church of my family. So as I'm of royal protocol, I know that the Garda Síochána know what all of that means, but there are still people being impetuous and cheeky. It's just cheeky, it's rude. They're obstructing my hierarchy of needs from being provided, and they haven't got the backbone to display any kind of integrity. So it's quite cheeky that a woman of worldwide legislation as I am, that has saved people's lives, is tolerating people with such a mental illness that they think they can come upon my child and interfere with him and interfere with his upbringing, and then think they're safe walking on my land. So there's a huge discrepancy between the reality and the fantasy, and the sooner people work with reality and stop making a nuisance of this circumstance in the condition that they put it, they're making nuisances, of themselves in the circumstances of this situation with the conditions that they can't respect. There are conditions, there are terms and conditions, so just once they know what they are, things mightn't be so bad. But as it is, there is no entitlement to anyone accessing any information regarding my private life. There are people coming in and around my space that I don't welcome or have invited, and that they aren't within the law of being around. They are debtors, they are defamers, and they have disrespected the state, and they have disrespected worldwide legislation that came from me. So anyone, I'm aware that there are people that think they're royalty, offending my ancestry. Unfortunately, those people that are putting their name to my academic research after causing financial fraud from their business ventures, I hope there wouldn't be anyone stupid enough to assist any further crimes of these kind of nuisances that have been living off stolen wealth and of bad PR and bad creative intellectual property that has insulted people's dignity. So anyone putting their name to COVID-19 legislation or Brexit legislation that isn't Maria McElligott, HRH I might add, then I hope the Garda Síochána know what needs to be reconciled in that circumstance. The United Kingdom, you're fully aware that my experiences, strength and hopes have, as I've recollected throughout my documentary, been frauded by individuals from the southwest of Ireland that have been of poor contributions in the arts, the entertainment industry and the heritage of this country. They have polluted, to say the least, positive progress, and they have frauded their identities onto my royal birthrights, and that's not acceptable. Anyone that is speaking about anybody without first-hand interaction or engagement or transactions that are legally recognised and that respect royal protocol, those people that are speaking out of place really need to learn a few P's and Q's about business relations, entertainment relations, and all sorts of affairs really regarding modern day society. Some people think they're above the law and they can speak out of place with a mask on and make a own shook of a situation. But these people have no professional kudos, and they have no respect spending from a child and mother that they owe a very dirty, dangerous debt to. It's only one spending any of my wealth. I hope you're aware of my spiritual status and how I feel about people walking onto anything of my identity, my church records, my wealth, my property, anything like that. I hope you're aware of the legalities of right protocol and how I feel about these frauds disrespecting the church, mentioning my name at all. So the Garda Síochána, the HSC representatives that have been in my proximity without any right or remit, that's a problem for the Garda Síochána children. That's putting the Garda Síochána children at risk. So the HSC representatives that have been aware and recognised as repeat offenders against the Tusla Child and Family Agency, etc., those people are not welcome within my royal patronage or property. So heads up, everybody, the Garda Síochána have already been damaged and disrespected in this circumstance due to financial frauds. They're individuals thinking they're walking onto my ancestral lines with their fraud, and that's already proven a failing of theirs to come to terms with or to repair their distorted thinking or perception of. So the sooner people are able to pay up, clean up and step up and do what they're supposed to do, the better. Any threats to life are all damaged, damaging the culprits themselves. They're only hurting themselves. So it's a sad sign of the times. COVID-19 that came from me and Brexit that came from me. Anyone causing any academic fraud with regard to my academic qualifications and research from the University of Limerick and a private institute in Dublin. Anyone coming near my name or royal titles or any of the legislation from me is putting all of that at risk. So it's very serious, anyone using any language that is inappropriate and that doesn't recognise the reality of these circumstances. So if the Garda Síochána could locate my child, please, besides having to accommodate or facilitate in any way any more repeat frauds in this community that are only obstructing progress, the course of justice. These people think they have a control mechanism by putting their foot down with filth and fraud. They've dirtied the country already. They're living off other people's wealth for I don't know how long, and they think they're going to put down their leg or foot or fist with more of their stupidity and ignorance that we all have to tolerate. So people are tired of tolerating these ignorant people that can't read or observe or practice the law. So for that reason, they have no right to discuss my child or nor I. So it's scandalous. This is for the interest of the European Parliament, because there are people in County Kerry thinking they're an authority with bad PR and dirty circumstances that insults women and children. So if the European Parliament could do something intelligent, besides entertaining the filth of financial thieves and frauds, I think the world will be a little bit safer. The future will be a little bit safer. It's quite clear that there are people of blasphemy trying to jump onto my identity, and unfortunately they're not qualified and they don't have the calibre of character. I think they need to remind themselves of their backgrounds. I'm 20 years a recovery advocate. My recovery advocacy has saved people's lives. So the sooner that these upstarts or any of these intruders of the limelight continue, as long as they're going to continue doing what they're doing, society and democracy is failed. It's as simple as that. They've already ruined society. We're only recovering from the filth that they did. And now we have to put up with more of it in the southwest of Ireland while I await for my child to be in my care. So these people that think they're obstructing or controlling or think they're in authority, they're really not welcome near anything of my royalty. The level of crime I've experienced, the level of crime that my child has experienced, inexcusably and unforgivably, is indescribable. So those people that think they're walking into anything of my legislation that is worldwide, or defaming my name or my competency or my capabilities, anyone using trash language to defame my good name, character or qualifications without living with me. I live on my own. So these people, they slander, they defame, they false report. Anyone that has to use cheap language to slander my name any further after 20 years and they've been reprimanded only recently might be careful about what's happened in the community of the southwest of Ireland in the past 5 years. Everyone just needs to have a quick, reminder with regard to what's happened in the southwest, and we'll see then how people feel comfortable offending me again on behalf of frauds. Sad sign of the times.